Okay, thank you. Okay, can you please tell me your name, your full name that you were christened with?
Who's this guy on TV like this?
Yeah.
What's his name? I forgot. Anyway, my name is
What is your name today?
Julie Kee.
How do you spell Julie?
Julie, just like Julie Andrews, because my favorite actress was Julie Andrews, so they named me after her.
How do you even become Julius?
No, that's my original name. No, when I worked in the Middle East, they there's lots of Polish people, from Eastern Europe, and they called me Julius.
Julius, like
The,
Julio.
the, the J is Y to these people. Julius.
Okay, okay. So, what year were you born and what? Tell me your birthday.
Oh, a long time ago. 24, 44. 24, 44.
44.
Yeah, 24, 1944.
What year? How much younger are you than my mom?
About 2.5, 3.
Oh, okay. See, fact check. Okay, who are your parents?
My tatay, Porferio Kee, the younger brother of Theodore, and my mom, Librada, the younger sister of Rosalia. So 2 brothers and 2 sisters. 2 brothers and 2 sisters. I don't know, they just got along.
So, are you sure you have the right set of parents? Like maybe
Maybe
you have the wrong set of parents.
you know what? It's possible because Tita Edith, who's me and her are only 3 months apart. Sometimes my mom would feed Tita Edith on right totoy and me on the left totoy. And then when mom is busy teaching, Nanay Rosalia would feed me here and right totoy and Edith. Yeah, because
But that's a true fact because we had talked about that
Yeah,
in our show. So thank you
exactly.
for confirming that.
Okay, so was your mom a teacher too, and your
She-
dad an engineer?
yes.
They were twin
Se-
sisters and
Twin brothers, yeah. That's why Lola Rosalia hated my dad because because my dad becoming an item with my mom, her younger sister. She was angry with that, you know,
Why? Did she want your dad?
because so, like she's married to Theodore, right? And my tatay was younger brother, and my mom was Lola Saling's younger sister. So you would visit your brother, and there's, oh, she's not too bad, eh? Like fell in love with my mom. Lola Rosalia was angry with that, very angry.
Oh, and she was a boss.
She was the boss.
Talking about the boss, Tita Liti told me that she was the boss to sending Tita Liti to Canada.
She dictated everything.
Okay, so
You will
I
go to
didn't-
nursing and then nurse America.
I did not know that you were the second one to stay here.
Second, I was a second. Yes, yeah.
So how did you end up here, and who decided that?
When I graduated in engineering, my parents always encouraging Canada. So when I graduated, a year later, I applied, and then Canada says no. The immigrant people, no, you have to have 5 years of experience. So the next morning, I went back to the embassy. And said, okay, I'll visit Canada. So came as a visitor. I was given 2 months to visit Canada. I ended up staying 7 years before I went,
Are you an illegal immigrant?
Well,
Stop.
illegal. Well, ill, yeah, and legal, both.
Should we call ice
Ice.
or yellow?
So where did you land?
Vancouver.
And Tita Liti met you?
Um,
all by
no,
yourself?
no, 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 no. I came with her. In fact, who came? Myself, Tita Lady in the air, and Lola Saling
On a holiday.
on a 2 month visa.
Uh-huh.
And then Lola Saling and in the air after 2 months, you went back to Cebu, and I stayed. I was hiding. I was TNT. I went to visit some
Northern
friends
Alberta.
in northern Saskatchewan. Visit some friends, and I don't know. Well, I think it's because I'm not a shy person. You know, I talk to anybody. I talked to this medical doctor, a white doctor in Saskatoon, and he said, "You're Filipino?" I said, "Yes." "Oh, we love you guys." You know, it's true. They love the Filipinos there.
What year was this?
1967, before your dad was circumcised.
So in 1967, they already knew that Filipinos had a reputation? You guys.
Reputation to.
Reputation of what?
Because they said, oh, we love you guys.
Oh.
How could that be in 1967?
No. There were lots of nurses already here.
Filipino nurses.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
Filipino nurses too.
yeah,
Mostly
nurses. Yeah.
po-
So
Probably mostly Filipinas.
No,
So-
the men were the men were the nurses.
Okay.
some nurses were men. Yeah, and yeah, they love the Filipinos. And then he introduced me to this doctor, white doctor in Saskatoon, and this doctor also loved the Filipinos. So he said, "Okay." I said, "I only have 2 months to stay here." He says, "Don't worry, I'll introduce you to somebody." He introduced me to the member of parliament in that community. The member of parliament. So he said, "Okay, I'm going to call him." And this guy, he said, "Where do you live?" He came to my place to visit me. And then he said, "Are you married or no?" "Hey, why don't you come with me now?" I went with him and lived with them in Saskatoon. This member of parliament. How can you go wrong when this dude is an MP? So he said, "Give me your passport, give me your school records, everything. Don't worry, you will stay in Canada." This is the MP.
Why did they want you to stay in Canada? You were not a nurse.
No, but the Filipinos had a good name at the time.
Yeah, but you didn't have a good name.
And huh? Always been. And then he said, "You're an engineer." He says, "Better. Give me your school records, everything. I'll bring it with me to Ottawa." So, because he's an MP, so they go to Ottawa for a conference. Came back. He says, Here is your passport. Look at your passport. Visa extended indefinite. Indefinitely, I could stay in Canada because of this MP.
So he could see that you could live up to your reputation.
Oh yeah. No, he I think I impressed him. You know, he was a nice guy too. So he was amazing person, amazing.
Nice. Do you remember his name or you can't say it?
Bert Cadieu. The last name is French, but he wasn't French. Cadieu. Cadieu. Yeah, Bert.
Wow. And so then you ended up working where? Because Tita Liti told me at the time that there was a fire that you guys were driving through to drive her to go to work.
To go to work. We were in. She told you know that story, right?
Well, she said that Lula bought this crappy car that you guys drove around in. And then-
1955 Pontiac, and I was driving. I was standing there, you know.
And she's like, it was like a movie. The trees were on fire.
Yeah, and then I drove across.
You crossed what?
Well, the fire on that side of the road. There was fire. There was fire.
Same story. Unbelievable.
There was fire.
Collaboration.
Collaboration.
And then, so you got her to work for her first day of work. What did you do after the fire?
It's funny. I was Tita Lady. Well, it's a small community, so nurses lived at the hospital. So where would I go? In the air, and Lola Saling came back to Saskatoon, or you know, and then I stayed. And then Tita Letty says, where are you gonna sleep? Oh, just don't worry. I'll talk to some people. So the doctor at that hospital, we became good buddies, and I lived with them.
People just letting people sleep at their houses.
Well, I mean, I had a very, you know, like a handsome, you know, like
You had a handsome
trust,
demeanor.
trust,
You were clean looking,
clean looking.
and you were not baho.
I was always putting limoncito.
Is that what you use?
Talk about that.
Even now, that's better than what's the brand for Ilok?
Menon or
No.
Old Spice.
Yeah, no. Limoncito, even to this day.
Sonia's agreeing with that.
So be careful with lemons when you come over.
You smell it first.
Okay, so you were in northern Saskatchewan, and how did you start engineering, or what was your first real job?
Okay, that's good. I'm so glad you're a good interviewer. Okay, now. I was an engineer. They asked me, what do you do? Engineer. But, you know, Philippine engineer, Canadian, not the same. So I said, okay, what do I have to do to become an engineer in Canada? Oh, you got to write the exam. I took the exam. Aced the exam.
Did you study?
Well,
Did you have a book?
well, you know, having graduated, you know,
But there was the Philippines.
good thing you say that. But see, this is the difference. Are you a Filipino, or are you engineer? Yes, I graduated in the Philippines, but I am an engineer. It doesn't matter where.
And you were able to ace the
I have a ring, Canadian engineer ring. I have it.
because you wrote the test.
Yeah, I took the test.
And then where did you end up working?
First, I met this like MP, and then this MP was he was a big time farmer in Prince Albert. You know where that is, okay? So he said, "Oh, I harvest time. I need people." So I was his right hand man in his farm, and I got along with everybody. And one thing we did was to bale hay.
Baling hay.
You know hay, right? What hay is, eh?
Is that the round one or the square
Oh,
one?
well, at that time it was square. It's round now.
Yeah.
Yeah, square.
Oh, it was square before.
Yeah. So this guy driving a pickup truck, and the attached to his truck was this little platform where I would pick up the hay that's already baled, right? I put it in that, you know, and then take it home. I was at that time, and I was very strong.
How long did you do that for?
Almost a year, from spring to late fall.
So, sorry, that's in Saskatchewan.
Exactly Prince Albert, Saskatchewan.
So this is the thing that people say right now. What do you call a Saskatchewan farmer in Alberta?
A Saskatchewan farmer in Alberta?
Yeah,
Filipino.
your boss.
No.
That's
Huh?
the truth.
My-
A Saskatchewan farmer in Alberta is your boss,
He's my boss.
right? You learn to work hard. You learn
Exactly.
to be with people.
Mm-hmm.
So you learned that after 1 year. Then what did you do?
When I got my because it was only a visitor's visa, right? When I got my call it permit to work, it was illegal for me to work at that time. They were just so nice to give me a job, but so my passport was, yeah, permit to work in my passport. So after that, I went to, well, I could work in Canada, right? I went to, I think Fort McMurray to work. There's lots of jobs at the time, even now, Fort McMurray. From there, I went to, I went to no, and then came to Calgary, and then I met Mommy Sophie, and then we went to Labrador.
Oh, so you took it to Sophie to Labrador. When
Labrador.
was Sonia born?
So Sonia was born in Trana.
Okay, so you went from Saskatchewan, where you met Tita Sophie, and then you guys moved.
No, I went to Calgary to meet Tita Sophie.
Oh, you moved to Calgary. Then you went to Labrador, and then you moved to Toronto, all while engineering.
Mm.
Who did you work for? Any big companies, or did you start with small companies, or what kind of engineering?
You know what? I was working for the biggest company even now for engineering in the world, based in San Fran. Bechtel Corporation was the name.
Oh, and they still are called Bechtel?
They are, yeah. When the based in San Francisco, when the royal families in Saudi, Libya, when they come to the U.S. for visit, they stay at the Bechtels. Bechtel, a big name, even now.
And they're still owned by Americans.
Oh yeah, it's San Francisco.
Get bought out by another country.
No. They buy companies. Yeah.
So you worked for them for a long time, and then you ended up going after Toronto. Where did you go after that? When was?
Yeah,
Which child was born when and what?
no, they were all born in Toronto.
Oh.
Sonia, Paulina, Linda.
Linda is sorry.
Well, in South part.
But yeah, Ontario.
Okay. And so, when did you end up going to Saudi?
I went to Saudi because I always wanted to, like, what's out there? My company was so huge, you have jobs worldwide. In Saudi, they had a huge project there. So I said, I want to go to Saudi. And then, well, they were offering jobs for Saudi, but single status, without the family. Yeah, I want Saudi, sure, no family. Okay, so I went. My other buddies, they didn't want to go because they didn't want to without their families, right? So I went. 3 months later, the office called me and said, do you like it here? I said, yes. Single status in Saudi, and I told him I loved it there. And he said, do you want to bring your family? I said, oh, please pinch me. What did you? Brought them to Saudi. That's why.
Sophie and the 4 kids.
Yeah, Marvin and Sonia and
Pauline.
no, Paulina was still little. They went to school in Saudi. SAIS, Saudi Arabian International School.
How long were you there for?
I was there for 15 years, but they were only there for 10.
Oh, Nikita.
Yeah.
Why are you here back in Alberta? Like, you've been to so many places.
And up here.
Yeah. Like, what? How did you choose Alberta? Why not go back to the Philippines? Why
Philippines, no,
Alberta?
no, not Philippines. Alberta, because this is where you are. This is where the Keys are in Calgary, right? Where else?
Well, you obviously moved to Edmonton.
You know why? I went to Edmonton because my wife, Marietta, we came here. So why I don't want to stay here. Mommy Sophie was here, you know, kids. So Edmonton was the closest.
I see. Near but far.
Near but far, yeah,
Near
yeah.
enough to love and far enough they couldn't hit you.
Right. So Red Deer, but no, Red Deer is too small. I had to stay in a big city.
So are you still working?
15 years ago, I retired.
How old were you?
At 65, I retired. I am now 81.
Why did you retire?
65?
Yeah, you didn't want to work anymore?
No, it wasn't. Well, I felt like too old to. Plus, good retirement in Canada. Good retirement here.
Especially since you've been working since 1967 or 68 officially.
Exactly. Yeah. So, no, I have been blessed.
Amen. So, we were talking about nicknames. Did you have a nickname in the Philippines? I know they called you Julie or Juliet.
Titi.
Titi. That's another word, isn't it?
Yeah, titi in Tagalog is penis. Penis. It's in Tagalog. My brother, younger brother, Tito Jesus, you know him? You met him? Yeah. No. Him and me in Manila, we go together, take the bus. And then you board the bus, it's full. So we would
You mean
stand.
the jeepney or the bus?
No, in Manila, buses.
A real bus.
Yeah. So we would stand. And then, and then as soon as there is an available seat, my brother, younger brother says, "Oh, Titi, si Titi." So Chris was a nephew of his wife. Chris, in Bisaya. Chris, tawag ka Titi, si Titi. Chris, si Titi. And in Manila, Titi is Pepe.
Yeah. So was it because you were...
Huh?
Why? Was yours always hanging out? Or like, why?
When he goes to Manila, I lived with him and myself, sister-in-law in Manila.
I still don't know why you got the word.
So maybe ask him who's his sister-in-law in Manila.
Hank is asking. Kuya's asking.
Who's the sister-in-law in Manila? Or was that a cousin?
No. My brother's sister-in-law.
Oh,
Ch-
from
ch-
Tito
ch-
Jesus.
yeah,
She called you Titi? That it started when you were almost an adult?
Wow, from Titi.
Okay.
He was just a small titi.
And then
That's what she said.
when in the bus when there's a vacant seat, a huge bus in Manila, we were all standing, right? So if a seat is available, he would occupy the seat, and then he would call Chris, the nephew of his wife. Chris, si Tete, dire pa rin ko. Chris, si Titi. Ano yung mga Tagalog in the bus.
Is okay, so you obviously, as people listen to you, because this will be on YouTube, and all your
On YouTube.
children and your grandchildren and all their boyfriends and girlfriends are gonna watch this, and your great grandchildren.
Did you explain to them what titi means?
Yeah, but he still didn't clearly explain why he was called Titi. He said the how he was called Titi, but not the why.
No, Titi is in Cebu. Titi is older brother.
Older brother in Cebu, it's older brother. Kuya, like kuya.
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 In Cebu.
Tagalog, it's titi.
You're not
And-
calling me Titi.
You know what it means?
Oh yeah,
Literally, what's the name?
penis.
No. Cock.
That voice you just heard was Alan Kee's
Alan
voice.
Kee.
Alan Kee's voice.
He's the rooster.
You didn't
That's
know
okay.
that. That's why I had to repeat it.
Okay,
you would
so let me
understand.
explain something. I teach a speaking class, a sales class, and we have a competition, and I have, yeah, I have a trophy, and it's a cock, and so the award,
And every Friday there's a cockfight.
and it's called the Cock Crows. You win the award for being the best cock.
The biggest. You went from the biggest to the best.
To the best.
It's not about
So,
size, it's
but
the
this
best.
is my full circle. You obviously have a radio voice. Tell us about that.
I have radio voice and you know.
A radio face and a radio
Radio
voice.
voice. Yeah.
Thinking Tito Wayne.
If
You
I-
didn't
if-
do
if-
the radio too?
No.
I
No.
feel like
Ma-
Tito Alan,
No,
Tito
my
Julius, and Tito Wayne all have radio voice.
my my brother.
You say hello.
My
Your younger brother or
older brother.
older brother. But you were not on the radio? Then your mom was Songbird Radio
In the Philippines.
in the Philippines.
But Tito Wayne was on the radio.
in Calgary.
But
He wa- he was-
you do this radio voice
What do
thing.
you call that?
Oh yeah.
What do you
Yeah,
call that
we
station?
all have. My brother and me and I think it's the key men.
You know
this.
what? I have it.
What do you call that station?
I get criticized. People say, "Stop using that voice.
that would have been
Just
like
talk
30,
like a
40
normal
years ago
person."
in
Like,
India.
but this-
Normal
It was
person.
called,
You have good voice. Yeah.
In Okotoks from
So,
40,
but you
50
just
years
turn it
ago,
on.
I think they still use the same.
Did you ever want to do radio?
Well, too old now, but yeah, I wanted.
But anyway,
Okay, so I know Sonia's been dying to ask this question. Of all your children, who's your favorite?
Sonia,
Why?
she's here.
because she's here.
If I can interject, Sonia is the favorite daughter.
Okay, you can tell us the truth.
Oh yeah, tell the truth. You're not listening.
You know, when Sonia was born in Toronto, at the hospital, in North York General Hospital, I was in the expectant father's room. You know, there is that room in the hospital, expectant fathers. So, a little piece of paper. I said, son. So I said, oh, if it's a boy, you know, what name would I give? You know, like I wrote son, right? First, if it's a boy,
Oh,
son. So I never came up with a name, and then the doctor came later and said, "Congratulations, baby girl." Son, baby girl. So IA. So mommy Sophia, Sofia. I just added IA.
you know, I'm glad you explained that to me. There's something about Filipinos and words and spelling.
That we are good.
What is it? Like we like combining things and giving a meaning to a beginning and an end. And what is that? Where does that come from?
It's the Bisaya intelligence. Don't know. No, you know, it's just you know, it's not really like in Canada. It's not very common, right? But for us, yeah.
When I said, "Oh, why didn't you move back to the Philippines?" You kind of had this disgust, like you would never go live back in the Philippines.
I would.
I never tried.
In fact,
Maybe
I would. Yeah.
But you're here.
The beach, the
Oh,
beach,
beaches?
the beach, the beach, the Pacific.
You love the water, but you live in Alberta.
So inland, yeah.
Have you ever felt like a fish out of water here, as a Filipino?
If I feel like a fish out of the water, no, no. As a Filipino, well, like what do you call that? Feel like you're so low here. You know, I don't feel that.
Because
Well, I am educated. I have a degree. You know, and I had
acknowledged.
yeah university. Yeah, I had a good job. I've had good jobs. Fort McMurray, Calgary, Edmonton, Saudi, Libya. So I could compare myself. No, I am still ahead.
Are you enjoying retirement?
Retirement. It's not. It doesn't mean that I don't do anything anymore. In fact, I'm busier now.
Why?
Right. I want to write.
Oh, what are you writing?
Huh?
He said writing.
Right. Right.
What
Right.
are you writing? Oh, it's a secret.
Stories about Kibon Kong and
Tell us about Kibon Kong. We're going to see if it corroborates with what we think we know. And then we'll ask Tito Alan, close his ears. What's
No.
your understanding of Kibon Kong?
we never met him.
So Chinese.
Yeah, he was from what's this place in
Fukien province.
yeah, there's a place there, yeah, Fukien province, yeah. And nobody met him, right? Ondo Henry never.
Don't even ask
He's
me.
the
I'm more
baby.
younger than you.
No, nobody.
Did you hear about him from your dad?
No, nobody. None of our cousins met him.
That's right. But we learned about him from my parents, my tatay, my
Even his own daughter. Just a minute.
chuling.
Chuling, that's not his daughter, right? That's his granddaughter, too.
Yeah, because you guys are on the grand.
Niece. Chuling.
No, granddaughter ni Kibong.
Oh yeah.
So what do you remember your dad telling you about Kibon Kong?
My tatay always say, you know what? Nobody could beat my dad. You know, his dad, Kibon Kong, and like I got a chess or in as far as intelligence, he really they even Tatay Doring think my dad was
Can you explain to me his sons or his children? So Kibon Kong,
the wife's name Vinancia from Cebu.
and he was a sailor, and he jumped off the boat, and he fell in love with a Filipina. Is that the story? That's the story on my dad's side. You stole it.
He
So Chinese
how
seamen.
no they all went to the story about Chinese men was you have to provide, okay? Now there's no work here in China, so you have to leave. So he was one of those. He left to get a job, so he could send money. But when he left, that was it. He didn't. Well, he met.
He fell in love.
He fell in love.
He left his heart in San Balamban.
He fell in love with this maiden from Balamban named Vinancia, and they had lots of kids.
13.
Huh? 13?
Yeah.
What number was Lolo Teodoro?
He was the top 5, I think,
And your dad
or the
was
top 3.
the bottom.
Bottom 5, my dad.
Did they all live?
Yeah, all dead.
No, but like, did they all become adults?
Yeah, and the youngest was he was a drunk.
Just the youngest.
Yeah, he was John. His name was John. He loved.
So how does a Chinese man talk to a Filipina and name all their children white names?
Spanish.
Well,
Theodoro? Is
The-
Theodoro a Spanish name?
Porferio.
yeah, Spanish. Yeah, Spanish.
Okay, could you name some of them?
Annunciation was the oldest, and she was a girl.
Casio, Casio.
Oh yeah, Nicasio. That's the dad of Choling, right? Annunciation. Pedro. There was a Pedro. There was a Pedro.
Never heard of it. There's one. And there's Junicio.
One.
And so your dad was about number 10, 8, 9? What number was your dad?
My dad was, yeah, 6, 7.
Oh yeah, okay. Wow. And so, did he learn Spanish? How
Oh,
did they even speak to each other, a Chinese and a Filipina? Cebuano.
While when the Chinese land in the Philippines, they always try to learn the language, right? That's the first thing you want to do. So yeah, he was able to assimilate with the people.
So your dad and your mom had how many children?
5 boys.
What number are you?
2.
So, Tito,
Wayne, me, Edgar, Jess, Bert. And Edgar and Bert passed away.
yes. Yeah. So, the 3 older ones are left. Yeah. But everyone did come to Canada at some point.
Every one of my brothers.
Yeah.
Edgar was here.
I don't think I ever met you.
Jess, no, he's still there. Never left the place.
Why?
He just, I don't know.
Tried.
He tried, you
He
know.
arrived in San Francisco. I was at the airport and he was landing.
You were there to meet him.
Yeah.
And he didn't get off the plane?
No, he got off the plane. And then he
Through
went
through immigration,
but
failed.
he had other people's passports with him.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, he had my dad's passport, my mom's passport. So the immigration says, why all the, so go back.
Wow. So,
Luthard's passport also. Luthard.
Right? Yeah,
Luthard's
Luther passport.
why?
Well,
You can say it now.
no, he. I think they just wanted him to do them a favor, you know, like, oh, here's my passport. Okay, could you do something about it,
Yeah. Here it is.
or safekeep it?
Yeah. And
He
he flew by
probably forgot to give it back to.
Plus, and also never thought about what would happen in the immigration. You know, he never thought about that. So that's why it's important to what's gonna happen. If I do this, he never had that thinking.
Tell me about your brothers growing up. Who was the one that you enjoyed the most?
And
You-
did enjoy.
And you can define enjoy.
No, I'm the second. Okay, so my eldest, we were so close. just a little over a year apart. We were, you know, we were closer. Well, the young ones, but me and Wayne, my older brother, we would visit. We would visit girls, and then he would say, "I'll take the older sister. You take the younger one." The Alisna in Mambaling?
I don't know them.
You don't know them? Edgar Alisna was their brother.
Tito Alan is only saying that because Tita Jean's here.
Tito Jean was like that. And anyway, we were close. My brother Wayne and me were close. We would visit.
You still write each other? No?
No, no more.
Do you know where he is?
He was the last time I heard was he was in Cebu, and then he. Somebody told me he just absconded like nisibat pa. He just left.
Oh, he's not
Cebu.
in Cebu anymore?
He left. He left. Maybe still in Cebu, but he left
Cebu left him.
in Nayawan.
He's been away from Inayawan for the longest time.
Or you know.
He was in Toledo, Bato.
Yeah, briefly.
Okay, so no judgment, okay? No judgment. I'm just absolutely curious. It seems like Lulu Teodoro and Lula Saling's family is different from your family.
Oh yeah.
In what way?
Although my dad was Lolo During's younger brother, my mom Lola Saling's younger sister.
But from my observation, 3 generations later, you seem like the children and the family structure and the relations are very different. Was your growing up very different from Tito Alan's family, my mom's family?
Yeah, I think there was a difference because Lolo During was played mahjong, right?
He was very quiet. My dad was quiet. His dad was not quiet.
Talked a lot.
Oh, that's where you got it from?
What?
Where I got it from? Oh, he can talk.
And what kind of talking did he do? Like when you're an engineer, what kind of talking do you do?
He was an
He was
engineer,
good in Bible.
politician, you would say.
Astrid, he was good in Bible. He would quote you some verses.
Yeah, in the Bible. Yeah. He was. No, he just loved to talk. My dad, not like Tatay During.
You would
Quiet.
know.
He would not
So you
say
think
anything.
Lulu's quietness enabled this side of the family to like be fairly stable, a traditional structure versus your family? You think that's the big difference?
Oh yeah.
How?
What? Like Lolo During didn't really say too much.
So you're blaming this on your mom?
And my dad, oh man, he talked. My dad, he talked a lot. He just loved to talk, and
And nag too.
oh yeah,
Oh.
nag.
You guys didn't get nagged by Lulu.
No, my mom was a nagger.
Yeah. And so you got nagged by your mom and dad, or just your dad?
My dad, my mom wasn't a nagger, no.
Her,
He outpowered your mom. He did.
I think.
But my mom outpowered
Mama
my dad.
Badang, Lola Badang, and
Talpirium?
Tatay Periong were both alpha.
Say that again?
They were both alpha.
And so, do you think that's why your family structure is so different from our family? Because I always say, oh, well, we're all the same. Like, because our grandparents are the same, we're the same gene pool, but there's a distinction between your family and our family.
Lolo During was quiet.
And I think your dad was a philanderer too. Right?
Well, I think there was occasions, yeah.
There were
Occasions.
philanderer.
Did you see that growing up? Did you see your mom behave differently or your dad behave differently to you or to your siblings?
No, as we grew older, they got better.
Oh, really?
I could add something to that. Tatay Piryong, and it's kind of odd because he's my dad's uncle. I guess he would fall, right? He was my godfather. I was kinugos, right? Is that how you say it, Tito Alan?
Godson, godson.
Godson. I was his godson.
So you're a philanthropist?
Wow, no, not yet.
I'm just wondering where's that link?
No, I'm just saying. I remember my mom telling me that because I didn't learn it until later on in life.
That he was your grandfather.
That he was my godfather.
Oh, okay, okay. We missed you at Tita Liti's funeral.
But I've heard about her.
That's right. When was it? And what? I think I was in. Yeah, Tita Liti's funeral. I was in Edmonton. Yeah, I was, and I think I felt I got sick, so I was bedridden at the time.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm glad to see you.
Yeah.
So in your 80s,
She was living
81. Katraman,
your health is still good?
oh, could not be better.
Yeah. Because you have how many children?
I have 9
Tell us.
9 kids
Yeah. Marv?
because I married 2 unwed mothers.
Oh, so Marianne also has a. Okay, so let's start. Do you mind? I just want to know who your children are.
Marvin,
Marvin, Sonia,
Sonia, Paulina, Linda,
and then Marianne.
and then Isadora. That's Nana, Isadora and Inday and Kuyang and Manuel. Yeah, Manuel.
Oh, Manuel, yes. And how many grandchildren do you have?
Sonia has 7. No, Sonia has 2. Sonia has 2.
Pauline, 1.
Pauline 1.
Marv, 1.
Marv 1.
Inday,
You know that.
2.
Inday 3.
Oh, 3. Oh, so 7.
Inday 3 and counting.
Oh, okay. Okay, so this is my
Lucky
question.
7.
What do you call a great grandfather? And my dad said there's no name because there was no such thing as a great grandfather.
Well, Lolo.
No,
Lolo.
he said
Lolo.
they all died.
Oh, I thought there was a translation for the.
No,
the word
Dad said no. There's no name for a great grandfather. Nobody ever had one.
Great grandfather?
Yeah,
Who didn't?
my dad said they all like the men died. They didn't live to be 80, 90, 100 to have great grandchildren.
Your dad?
That's what my dad says. So I'm wondering, did anyone you know have a great grandfather? And then what would you call them?
Well, say Lolo. Say Lolo.
Yeah, you just carried that
Yeah,
name.
but did you know anyone who had a Lolo?
Lola Paulina.
Lolo's a
I remember her. She's our great grandmother.
Oh, okay.
And we just called her Lola.
Yeah, but Lulas live longer than Lolos because they killed the Lulos.
And me and my siblings pretty much, I think, lived through with Mama Ilin as well, and she was our great grandma.
Right. So
She would
what's
be
a
the
great
only one I would
grandfather?
know.
Does anyone know of a great grandfather?
Maybe
Mine?
also Lolo.
Yeah.
No,
that
they
you
died
knew
young.
when you were
They died
alive.
young. Narciso and Kibon Kong died young.
And but you called Lula
Mama Ilen.
Mama Ilin.
Mama Ilan. What did you call
I
her?
called her Lola.
Paulina.
Paulina.
So there's no great title. There's no
No.
Lula, Lolo.
No, we just say Lola, Lolo.
So Sonia, you were born already when Mama Ilin was still alive?
I remember her in Iowa.
Kids are tired.
I remember her very well.
Very good.
Who?
Lola.
Paulina?
Mama Ilin.
Lola
Roll her
Paulina.
own tobacco. She would drink tobacco.
Oh yeah, she smoked tobacco,
Like her own.
roll it.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was a drunk and she smoked.
She was a drunk and smoked.
But I think that everybody did.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
not
yeah.
only that,
Yeah.
let's add
Gambling.
Yeah.
Mahjong.
Mahjong. Let's add mahjong to that. Smoking, drinking, and mahjong.
No, no. The only mahjong, the lolo drink. The rest,
My dad.
your dad too.
So only our side were the gamblers?
Yeah, yeah. Lolo Periong did gamble and
I
all
would-
the uncles. No, no.
I would only get little snippets that Mom said their life was hard because he gambled.
Who?
Mom, my mom,
Who's he?
that
The
Lulu
During. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
gambled, and sometimes they had to wake up early to sell sweepstakes. Did you ever have to sell? Sweepstakes?
They had to sell, yes.
Did you?
I did, yeah, yeah.
What? Tell me about sweepstakes. What is that?
It's lotto.
It's a lotto.
You know, you sell. Well, you buy the ticket, maybe 80 cents, and sell it for $1. So you have 20%.
And so, okay.
God bless.
Oh, you saw that?
Boy,
You got that on
yes,
the-
that was called an amen.
Amen.
I mean,
From yeah. Okay. Okay, so we're wrapping up. We got 10 minutes because I try to keep this under an hour. Any hard-hitting questions, anybody? Because I feel like I almost hit the edge of a hard question, but your dad's a jokester and doesn't honestly.
So I have a hard question, and not so much a question, but maybe just get some insight from you. When I was growing up, my mom always told me, anyways, that you and my dad had a good relationship, and just maybe give us some insight.
Insight, yeah.
As
Your
to-
dad,
Henry,
Henry,
Yeah, give us
'Cause
some
what's
stories.
the
and my tatay.
what's the age difference?
Oh yes.
Me.
You
They're-
and Daddy Henry.
5 years.
5 years.
Okay.
So, my mom always said that Tito Julie and my dad had really good relationship, but probably even better with my dad and your dad, right? Henry and Tatay Periong had a really good
Very good.
relationship. Hence, I was the godchild, or he was my.
He was so happy because he was 5 years older. So when he would visit us, my dad, Henry, go on. Because they love to drink, the key,
Tuba?
rum.
Rum.
Tanduay.
Yeah, Tandoy rum. So yeah, your dad, because we were still below drinking age. So yeah, they had a very good relationship. In fact, my dad gave your dad a job in Capitol.
Yes, my mom said that.
Gave his dad a job, because my dad said, Henry, you go to school, finish engineering. But I don't know, it just didn't, because your lolo, Tatay Doring, was not really pushing him. It was my dad pushing his dad to go to engineering. So different. He never finished.
Who did?
Henry.
Oh, your dad.
Yeah.
How did? Where
Was he
does
taking up engineering?
I think he started, and then it's different if
How
it,
old was he when he got married? Son? Your dad.
Well, let's just say I was 5 years old when
Yeah, I know, but you didn't know like how old?
probably
21.
Early 20s or
64 minus 39 is what?
25.
25. So he could have been in his early 20s, or right?
What do you mean 64? You were born in 64.
Yeah.
Eileen was born in 60,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So he would
61.
have been about 20 years old.
About early 20s.
That's nice to have that insight. It sounds like your dad was the uncle because he didn't wane till after Uncle Henry.
Oh yeah.
But that was only a 2-year difference.
Yeah. It was something he saw. Well, I guess he's the first one that could drink with them.
He was the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. There's always someone who's always going to be first, right? But no, I was just interested to know.
He could have been an engineer. He was on the path.
So
My tatay always said, Henry, engineering. But it's different if it's your uncle or your dad pushing you. But Lolo Doring, no.
Do you feel like you pushed
If I pushed,
No.
Like if your dad pushed Tito Henry, do you feel like you pushed anyone, either your children or nephews and nieces?
Yeah,
I think I pushed Marvin to but no. Yeah, I was trying to push Marvin to hey school engineer well whatever.
Sonia's the closest. Well, she.
I got kicked out of engineering, but I got in.
Woo!
But I'm saying it skipped a generation because now Christian's in engineering.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
chemical engineering.
yeah.
So
He did the same as Caleb.
Christian is gonna be an engineer in 2-3 years.
in engineering.
Yeah.
He'll be an engineer
Strong
2-3 years.
in the family.
Yeah.
It's very strong in the family.
So did you have any influence
Maths.
in Christian going into the engineering route, or did he just know it?
I think
Well, well, he Christian knows I'm an engineer, so
and he didn't want business because Steve was pushing both kids. Like, hey, do you guys want to do business?
really?
They both went into science.
And it's kind of funny in our family, nurses and engineers, and it's almost like when you become an engineer, it's more elevated than if you became a doctor. I think like an engineer was just it was like top of the line. It was for some. That's my opinion.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Maybe you have a different take on
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
You just got like you were on the upper echelon.
Or
Like
is
if
it
you live in
math?
North America, if you're a doctor or a doctor
Did
of
you
something.
feel that pressure?
I never felt that pressure. I did go to engineering and kind of went the same route as Sonia.
In
Yeah,
you'll see.
UFC, yeah.
Did you get to
I went up to 3 years, and then but I transferred to the math program, applied mathematics program, which is really stupid. I can't
So-
even add 1 plus 1.
How many years in engineering here?
A year
3?
and a half,
Oh.
and
did
then I
longer than
switched.
me. I
What?
got a letter and everything.
Why did you pursue that?
Yeah, so I remember growing up here that he's very passionate about becoming an engineer or pushing people to, especially his relatives, right, near and dear. But yeah, no, it's funny, but it just
I think
just
it's the math.
carried
I
a
think it's
little.
math. Like a lot of our
The
tendencies
insect thing.
to get into like
Insect.
math related
Or business,
science.
yeah.
Yeah, or business. And
So, do you? I know, it was like Tita Liti. She's like, oh, my mom chose nursing for me. I just did what my mom said. You did what you saw your dad do. Would you have, like, not looking at how blessed you are and how well it turned out for you, would you have chosen a different career at that young age?
Engineer. It was engineering. I was still elementary. I want to be more like my dad, engineer.
Because that was the thing. I think there was a really big push to be an engineer. I remember even your dad vaguely remember, but it was always like, I'm engineer Kee. I'm engineer Theodore or
Porferio.
Porferio Kee.
See?
It was always the engineer was like the word doctor.
See, and that's another example because none of Lolo Theodore's children became engineers.
That's right.
And
Because Lolo During,
Was not the alpha dog.
yeah, with
dad
Henry, with your dad, Nilo, I think medical technology, right?
he got into the medical profession. Even Tito Alan also was trained in the medical profession. In fact, I think it was only your mom and Tita Edith that doesn't have a medical background. Because I think they were both in the accounting side, right?
Okay, we're wrapping up to an hour.
Okay, good. So
You have to give us a word of wisdom in case you die in 2 days.
If I died in 2 days, which is 48 hours, and
see that mathematical.
I think I can still live a little longer, but my advice to you guys,
Not advice, word of wisdom.
Similar.
Word of wisdom.
What have you gleaned from your blessed life?
Oh, good question. Yeah, I consider myself very blessed. And I always go back to how, especially my dad, he was a pusher. My dad, yeah, listen to their advice. In fact, I'll tell you how my dad really believed in us. He believed that I have 5 sons. I have five. We have pictures like, I don't know if you see the picture. 5 of us, from the oldest to the youngest, and then 15 years later, another picture, oldest to the youngest. And my dad would bring that to his office and show it to his colleagues and say, "These are my 5 sons, handsome sons," and he is going to be my oldest brother. My dad sent him to UP in Manila. Say, "I trust your intelligence. In 5 years, you're going to be a metallurgical engineer, and which is in demand." So he sent my brother to Manila to go to school, and for 15 years old, 16, away from home. No, he didn't go to school. He didn't go to school. He just mixed with his buddies, and after 1 year, the record was so bad, my dad said, "No, come home." So he went back to Cebu. Engineering, he lost interest, so he never finished engineering. But I finished because, well, I went to school, and
You were driven.
yeah. I'm the second, and the third also finished in engineering. Edgar, and Jess, I don't know. I think my tatay got tired. The fourth, I don't care what you do. You do do what you want to do. He didn't finish school, and the youngest,
Here's a drum roll.
medical doctor.
Is that the youngest? Oh, doctor.
Yeah, because at that time I was already in Saudi, making good money, so I sent him to school.
Oh, that reminded me. So Titaliti came and slowly
Invited.
sponsored people. What was you came, you got a job, and who did you sponsor next?
Edgar.
Oh, so Tito Edgar came very early.
Yeah,
Before Tito Wayne?
I think so. Yeah.
So did you came and then you sponsored Tito Edgar, your younger brother, because he's an engineer. He could get a job, and he worked. How long did he stay? Because I don't remember Tito Edgar until I was older.
No, I sponsored him. He came. Oh, he wasn't. He didn't do anything.
Oh, he didn't even get a job.
He got a job as a janitor. he didn't. What do you call it when you are lost? Like, I don't have a chance anymore.
He gave up,
Gave up.
and then after that, then you sponsored Tito Wayne.
No, he was already here.
Also,
He came on his own.
He came on his own.
Oh, so he wasn't sponsored.
Okay,
I sponsored him, but I don't know. He did wait for the results.
He had his family. Wasn't Agnes born in the Philippines?
The whole family.
Yeah. Agnes.
So they
All three
came.
of them.
They
Three.
came as a family.
Because Erwin was born here?
Yeah. Erwin was born in Canada.
Toronto.
They,
You sponsored Tito Edgar.
Yeah.
But Wayne came on his own. You were able to sponsor Tito Edgar because he was an engineer, and so he went back home.
Well,
I think Tito Edgar stayed.
stayed a little while, but
Just remember.
but when you are already old, you know, and you lose confidence in yourself, and the only job he could find in Canada was a janitor. Can you imagine that?
Well, my parents did that. Like my dad served tables. My dad was a professional accountant. He served tables and then he cleaned offices and.
Lolo During was professor back home, and he was a hockey player here in the city of Calgary. He was mopping floors.
Yeah. So, okay, sorry, one more question. Was your family, because Lolo Theodore was a gambler and your dad was not,
Not no.
were you guys financially, and I think you had businesses?
No, no.
No? Okay, so were you guys better off than,
Well, it was the same, you know, like they went to school. See, Ondo Henry didn't finish, right?
What's that?
No.
Ondo Henry didn't finish school.
School? Can I say something?
Yeah.
They're financially well off because he sent a lot of money back home,
you sent your money home?
right?
Yeah, but that was later when Bert was in medical school.
Oh, that's when you
Be-
started sending money?
Yeah, but before that, no.
Okay, so this is an opinion thing outside of the interview. What do you think about sending money home? Do you think it's been a benefit to the people there? Or do you think how do you think it has
Spoiling?
shaped and influenced the Filipino people in the Philippines?
It is spoiling them. We Filipinos send money, and
You enable them.
and because you see, I believe that whatever you have, if you did not sweat for it, you don't appreciate it. No, you don't.
And that's the Lolo During and Lola Saling's mantra, isn't it? You don't sweat for it, you don't deserve it. Right? Pretty much.
My family didn't send money home. And I didn't even really know there was such a thing until I was older. And I didn't even know until my 40s that there's a name for that, remittances.
Remittance,
And
yes.
it's a big part of the Filipino GDP.
Exactly. The remittance of Filipinos here sending money. Many success stories, many unsuccessful. Because I've heard of Filipinos, you know, was able to go to medical school or engineering because their brothers, sisters in Canada and the US were helping them. But many also got spoiled.
I have a theory that the hardworking ones who go through school leave to work, and the lazy ones stay for more money.
Right.
For more money.
And this is what I'm saying. You can kind of look at it in two ways. So I say the Kee side, this side of the Kee from Lola Saling and Lolo During, when they were sent money, they used it wisely, meaning they advanced themselves.
Education, send the next person.
They cycled. Whereas some of the relatives that I know back home, not so much my relatives, because we very rarely send money too, but back home, she hates it when I say back home. They just punko all the time. They're expecting the money, but they're not doing anything with it, right? You agree with that? Like,
You mean other Filipinos?
other Filipinos sometimes that's the stigma maybe that's my stigma or my viewpoint is that
I think I would say son 50-50.
50-50.
I
So
would
that's
say
still a
50-50.
pretty big. So it's half and half. Okay, well, but I just say some
Because
people
there's
use
a lot
it.
of success stories that I know.
Right.
Thank you.
So yeah, no, it's
Welcome.
It's interesting. Thank you. Yeah.
How do you want us to remember you when you're 110?
I want to be remembered as a loving person who would never, like when I meet a person on the sidewalk who needs help, I have to stop and help him. We have to, what's the word? When you borrow his feelings, empathize. You have to have an empathetic heart. Father, Son, Holy Spirit, Amen.